Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Q&A Sunday. I'm Rich Dallas with Berkshire Hathaway, the Dallas-Fincham team, and on today's episode, I'm going to need you to buckle in because we got a lot of information to cover, and you're going to want to hear what I have to say regarding where we're headed into 2021 and where we're ending 2020 and how it affects the housing market. We're also going to talk about foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, short sales, sheriff sales, so strap in and let's get going. Okay, let's start off with a little bit of where we went in 2020. So, housing market, as you know, was absolutely crazy. After the pause button got turned off in every market, the market went nuts. And here in Pittsburgh was no different. Normally in Pittsburgh, we don't follow the trends of every other area because we're nice, slow, steady increases. But the market this year in Pittsburgh was fantastic. So what does that mean for buyers? That means that the housing prices were going up because demand is going up. And what does that mean for sellers? That's great for sellers. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about is unemployment. And where is that in relationship to, kind of where we're headed, where we're at, and what people were predicting, and, where reality is. So one of the things that you probably already know, when you watch the news, they're going to tell you doom and gloom. It's going to be all bad because they want you to tune in. They're not going to tell you about the rainbows and the butterflies and all the happy stuff because you're not going to listen to what they have to say. You are being drawn in to hear the bad information, and that's unfortunate. But I want to be a voice of the truth and share with what I'm hearing all the experts saying about the market. So one of the things that I learned this week was unemployment was predicted to be at 9.6% at the end of the year, and that was in June. So all the experts were saying that by the end of the year, we were still going to have 9.6% of unemployment. Now, anybody unemployed is unfortunate. If you want to have a job, I hope you have a job, and I'm not minimizing the fact that people have lost jobs. We are just saying what the reality is. We are going to end the year somewhere about 6.9% unemployment rate, which again, not minimizing the fact that it's, that there are people that have lost their jobs. However, this is something most people don't know. 6% unemployment is actually considered full employment. And what full employment means is anybody who wants a job has a job. So we are not that far off of what would be considered full employment. Now, that is a little bit of the history of what I'm going to talk about with this foreclosure, short sale, and that topic. But I wanted to give you the background so you know why we're not headed into what we saw in 2007, 8, 9, 10 when the market crashed across the country. Now, a little bit about what is a short sale? What is a foreclosure? What's a sheriff sale? And what's a pre-foreclosure? So we get these questions all the time. But I'm going to start off with the big one, foreclosures. What is a foreclosure? A foreclosure is when the bank has already taken over the property. It's a huge, hit on the seller's credit. It's not good. So, that's really it. The biggest thing about it is you got to know that the bank has already taken over the property, and the bank normally is not going to be making any repairs. They're not going to be paying the normal closing fees. You're going to pay a little bit more in closing fees because the bank's not going to do it. They're not going to let you do a home inspection, or if you do, it's for informational purposes only. Now, the other one that we get that's very common is a short sale. What is a short sale? Basically, what a short sale is, it's the seller telling the bank, hey, I know I owe you $100,000, but I can only sell my house for $85,000. Are you okay with that? That's simply put. Now, a short sale is a really, really involved with the seller. You really need to have a seller that's going to be engaged in the transaction, because they're going to have to prove hardship to the bank, saying why they can't make their mortgage payment, why the house isn't worth what they owe on it. And it's not as big of a hit on someone's credit. So that's kind of the benefit of doing it. But one of the biggest things that I tell people about short sales is they really should be called long sales, because they are not going to be fast. It is going to take a long time. And if you have a client if you're a buyer and you need to be in a house in 30, 60, even 90 days, a short sale is not going to be the route you're going to want to take, because those could take upwards of 6 months to a year in order to get them closed, because the bank is going to want to try everything they possibly can to get as much money out of them as they can. So that's short sale and foreclosure. Now, the next one, we get this question all the time. They see a thing on Zillow and it says pre-foreclosure. And I get this call and people are all excited, like, hey, this house is going to be coming on the market. It's pre-foreclosure. Well, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but pre-foreclosure doesn't mean anything. It's actually a Zillow term. And all it means is that somewhere along the lines, the seller missed a payment. And right now, with forbearance, a lot of people didn't make payments this year on their mortgage because they were in that COVID situation and they took advantage of the fact that they were allowed to miss a payment or two. So these pre-foreclosures keep popping up on Zillow because the tax records are saying somebody hasn't made a payment here or there or wherever. So if you see pre-foreclosure, you can call me. I'm going to tell you, but it's actually not. It may never go to foreclosure. It may never become a short sale. It's probably never going to be a listing that ever hits the market. So I just want you to kind of know that and everything like that. Now, the last one, sheriff sale. People always talk about, oh my gosh, this house is going to a sheriff sale and I'm going to buy it for pennies on the dollar. And here's why. That might sound great and it might seem like you're going to do that. But there's a big factor that a lot of people don't realize about sheriff sales. The sheriff sale will pay the back taxes off, and that's what you're doing. But that does not mean that the lender, the bank who holds the mortgage, is just going to forgive that mortgage and say, hey, you don't owe that money anymore. That doesn't happen. So you still have to work with the bank on a sheriff sale to get that mortgage satisfied. So just because you bought a house for, $2,500 because that's what the back taxes were, which usually it's more like $30,000 or $25,000, that does not mean that the lender is just going to walk away from the, $150,000 that they are owed. So don't get too excited about the sheriff sale. I know this was a lot of information to take in. Sheriff sales, short sales, foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, the market. I just want you to know, and this is what I'm telling all of my buyers right now, with the demand going into 2021, we're not going to see the foreclosures like we did. I'm not all the experts are saying that that's not what's going to happen. There is a lot of people who have a lot of equity in their homes this time versus last time. Last time, as we went into 2007, 8, 9, it was because people were using their houses as piggy banks and they were just taking money out, refinancing 2 times a year so they could go on vacation or buy another car. And this year, or this time of the market we're in, people have been building equity. People learned from what happened 10 years ago, and they're not doing that this time. So I would not anticipate, based on what I'm hearing, that we're going to see a large increase in foreclosures. Obviously, there's going to be some. There's going to be one here or the one there. It's going to happen. I mean, that's inevitable. I mean, that happens in a perfect market. But don't expect a flood of them like we had before. And the one thing I want to leave you with, and I hope you stayed with me. I know this one's a little bit longer than normal, but here's the thing. As prices go up because demand's going up and, what we're going to see is, if you're on the fence of buying a house right now, and this is what I'm telling my buyers, if you're on the fence of buying a house right now, do you want to put 10% or 5% equity into your house if you buy it now? Or do you want to pay the seller 10% more if you wait a year? So right now, I know that was a little bit step back, just bringing that back. Okay, so if prices go up by, I'm going to use 10% because it's easy math. If you're going to buy a $100,000 house, in a year from now, it's going to be $110,000. Would you rather have that $10,000 of equity in your account, or would you rather be paying the seller that extra $10,000? I know the answer. You know the answer. So if you're thinking about buying a house right now, you need to reach out to somebody on my team. Myself, my number is 412-965-6387. Everybody should know that by now. And I'm not that hard to find if you just Google my name. I want to help everybody that I possibly can. And moving into 2021, I'm really excited about where the market's headed. So again, I know this was a little bit longer Q&A Sunday. I really hope you stuck with me, and I hope you got a lot out of this one. If you need anything, reach out to me, reach out to somebody on the team, put a comment in the link below, subscribe to this, tell your friends about this, and make sure you shout this from the rooftops. Anytime you're with people, I know you're probably not going to be with people for holiday parties this year, but anytime you're talking to people, make sure you're informing them about the real truth of the market. And if you have any questions, have them reach out to me as well. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.